Welcome to Discovering 615, the podcast celebrating the people, places, and stories that make Middle Tennessee amazing. From local business owners and entrepreneurs to musicians, creators, and community leaders across the Nashville and Middle Tennessee area, we're shining a light on the heartbeat of our community. And now here's your host, Rob Thacker. Thack Attack 615.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Discovering 615. I'm your host, Rob Thacker, Thack Attack 615. And today is an episode that's one I think you just about everybody needs to hear. March is Nutrition Month. How many of you knew that? And today we're diving into nutrition, food, herbs, and supplements that can help eliminate burnout and 10 times your energy, not by masking the problem, but by actually fueling your body the right way. And joining me again is one of our favorite guests, nutrition expert, Sheri Traxler.
Hello, thank you for having me again.
Yes, we had a fun time last time.
Yes, we did.
And we got some good plays last time too on the last podcast too, some downloads and stuff like that.
Excellent.
So, hey, it's great. March is Nutrition Month, Sheri. So let's dive right into it. I hear people are saying they're always tired, and so when someone says to you, I'm exhausted all the time, what's usually really going on?
Okay, usually really going on. Rob, this, it's not a trick question, but it's a trick answer because there's not one thing. When I went through adrenal fatigue in my late 20s and 30s, it was because of stress, pushing too hard, something that's called self-abandonment, where basically you're taking care of everybody but yourself. Other people, they're exhausted because, guess what? You're over 50 now, and your body is going through changes that it's like the energy systems in your body, the mitochondria. We won't go too sciencey unless you want to go there. Those things begin to slow down unless we do something about it. So it can be everything from stress, it can be age, it can be I'm not eating well, which is I'm sure what we're going to be talking about today.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you hit that over 50 thing. I'm sitting going, okay, I'll share it because I'll be 56 in May, and my body is like thinking to myself, I got the mind of a 23-year-old or a 24-year-old, my humor of a 16-year-old, and my body feels like it's Civil War at times, So I saw that. I stole that meme from somebody, but I saw it. I thought, yes, that's me.
Yeah. I like that.
That's how I feel sometimes. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about draining energy, let's talk about the nutrition element of that, because what is the biggest nutrition mistakes people make when they're dealing with low energy and right now, what are some things they need to do? What are some things they need to avoid too? Because caffeine is one of those things we love to rely on, but
Yeah, well, I talked about adrenal fatigue. There's two things that we do in our lifestyle, not so much specific to nutrition, but two things we do in our lifestyle that gets us really drained. One is adrenaline and one is caffeine. That if you're tired and you're pushing through on adrenaline, which was what I did, or you're tired and you're pushing through on caffeine, both of those are going to deplete your adrenal systems. They're going to deplete your energy systems, and you're going to end up drained on the other side. So what someone needs to do, let me tell you a story with this. So a woman came to me, I've been doing this for a really, really, really long time. So this was a long time ago. She came to me and she said, I'm growing my business, have a big team that I'm managing. I'm heavily involved in the community, heavily involved in her church, have a special needs person in her family that she was a primary caregiver for, and raising her own teenage kids. And she's like, how do I keep juggling all this? I don't want to give any of it up, but I'm drained, to your point.
Yeah.
One of the first things that we did, was not the only thing we did, but one of the first things we did was we looked at what is it that she is eating. And this is something I call a powerful plate. And I've got a video on YouTube that I'll give you the link into the show notes for y'all, that it goes in, and that video goes into different menu plans you can put together, so that you don't have to think about, once I understand this, now how do I implement it? But to understand it, picture a circle.
Okay.
This is your plate. Draw a line down the middle.
Right.
Half of that plate is vegetables.
Okay.
A quarter of that plate is high quality protein, whether that's fish, chicken, beef, whatever. And a quarter of that plate is high quality carbohydrate, brown rice, potatoes, sweet potato, whole carbs, real carbs, not overly processed carbs.
Right.
And then somewhere in there some healthy fat. That is going to keep someone's, number one, it's going to keep your blood sugar stable. Doing this blood sugar thing
Right.
up and down is a classic way to exhaust you.
Right.
The other thing that's going to do is give you the nutrients. When we talk about supplements, probably anytime we talk nutrition, people have questions on supplements.
Right,
So you'll
exactly.
probably have some questions on that.
Yeah.
So a lot of the nutrients specific that you need for your body to create the energy is within that powerful plate.
Okay.
So yeah, at some point you may need to take supplements, but a supplement is to supplement you already
That's a good
getting
point.
a clear picture, a clean, strong picture of what you need for your energy. So if this is out of balance, here's how this works for your energy. If this is out of balance, if it's mostly carb, you're going to get the blood sugar up and down.
Right.
Okay. If it is even too much protein, even somebody who's eating a lot of protein out of balance can cause some of this. The other is, well, what if you're not, what if somebody takes the other to the extreme and goes, you know what, this veggie thing, yeah, I'm gonna just load up on veggies, and they actually, not many people are gonna do this, but you actually go beyond a half of the plate being vegetable. Well, that's not really gonna have enough calories to sustain you, and an hour later you're gonna be famished because it was just a pile of lettuce.
So you're gonna get the munchies.
Yeah, so you're gonna get the munchies, right. But all that fiber in the vegetable half is going to slow down the digestion of the carbohydrate so that it's a slower rise in blood sugar. So it's very specific, the reason it's designed the way that I designed it.
So like if you were to look at the plate, especially when we talk about the vegetables, what are some of the vegetables that you recommend should be on the plate? Like I'm a big fan of sauteed Brussels sprouts.
Love that.
I
Yes,
love those.
yes,
If
yeah.
I have those every day, I'd have them
Have them every day.
and twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
Asparagus is another thing. Broccoli, I'm just but also but what else do you got? Of course, I'm addressing some greens there, but what else would you add into that?
The biggest thing to remember is that in that carbohydrate quarter, that's your corn and your potatoes.
Okay.
Those count as carbohydrate, not
Good to
as your veggie side. But on the veggie side, it can be anything from carrots, zucchini, broccoli, which you don't like, Brussels sprouts,
I like broccoli.
asparagus,
Okay, I like it raw.
spinach. Okay, that works. That
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
You know, spinach, cauliflower, whatever. Anything that we think of as a vegetable, other than corn and potatoes, goes on that veggie side.
Okay.
And there's not, the key on all this is variety. There's not one thing that you go, oh wow, that's the thing you need to be eating all of the time in the exclusion of other things. It's like, no, asparagus has different nutrients than broccoli. Broccoli has different nutrients than squash. So just, it's like, mix it up.
And so okay, because we're getting to spring and summer, which means people are going to be looking for those tomatoes.
Yes.
And they're also going to be looking at more fruit probably if they are. So where does the fruit factor into the plate as well, or tomatoes, because tomatoes are fruit?
So yeah, technically, from a plant standpoint, tomatoes are a fruit.
Right.
From a nutrient standpoint, think of them more really as a vegetable.
Okay.
As functionally, they are going to function more as a vegetable. But the fruit is going to be more like your complex carbohydrate.
Okay.
So if you have a big fruit salad, that's going to be your carb for that meal.
So that would be replace the corn, the rice, brown rice, and the potatoes for that meal.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
That's great information. And then again, the protein. So let's look at the protein. How much? Because I think, and you and I had this conversation at one point. When you're like, if someone's training, and I'm going to, which obviously fitness helps with burnout.
Absolutely.
What is the recommendation in terms of protein, grams of protein, those type of things? I just noticed that our Secretary of Human Health and Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., just reversed the food pyramid a little bit, or changed it up, which I was glad to see that. But where does protein, especially for all the guys out there, the meat and potato guys, like me, Where is the protein? What's the protein that guys should try to consume? I know.
Okay. So first off, your meat, potatoes, and Brussels sprouts. You're not just meat, potatoes.
That's true.
We have
And
learned
asparagus.
something else.
Yeah. Asparagus. Yeah.
So if you look at that powerful plate, if you are eating when you're physically hungry, eating until you are no longer hungry, and you're eating that proportion, you're going to get plenty of protein.
Okay.
If you want to look at grams, then you're going to start looking at, well, is it 1 gram per pound, or is it 0.8 or 1.2, somewhere in there? But that's often going to depend on, are you lifting? Are you doing lifting and cardio? Are you lifting and cardio 1 day a week or 5 days a week? What is your current body composition? So that's the kind of thing you want to get with somebody and fine tune it for you.
Gotcha. That's great information.
But if you don't like counting numbers, just know, eat when you're physically hungry, don't eat when you're not physically hungry, and eat that powerful plate, and you'll be pretty much fine.
And in terms of, let's talk about eat, because you mentioned eat when you're physically hungry. Is that like, because again, there are all sorts of things out there, like, and we can get into this, we can go down this rabbit trail in a minute, but fasting, some people wait until they don't eat, and then they eat everything from 12 to 7.
Right.
Then there are those that have, you need to eat 5 to 6 meals a day, because I used to do that to speed up your metabolism. You're trying to cut weight and burn fat, and then there are those that, I don't have that kind of time. Just go 3. So
So when we're looking at it through the lens of energy, listen to your body.
Okay.
When your body says, I'm physically hungry, that is the cue you need to eat. Gotcha. When your body says, I'm no longer hungry, anything you eat when you're not physically hungry, now your body's having to use energy to process that food that it wasn't calling for. You're now wasting energy digesting that food, and of course then it's going to be stored for later because you weren't calling for it. Fasting is tricky for some people. Fasting spikes your adrenaline. So for a lot of people, they love to fast in the mornings because they feel extra alert. It's adrenaline.
Okay, good to know.
And from a burnout standpoint, now you're setting yourself up to burn out. Now, that doesn't mean don't fast. Some people, from either a physiological reason, for some mental health reasons, I mean, there are reasons to do any of these things. If you're choosing to do them because it's a fad and my friend is doing this, you could be setting yourself up for issues.
Right, because everybody's body is different. But I love what you're saying there. Listen to your body. It's like even when you train.
Yeah.
And something's not feeling right, it may be time to step back from.
Yeah, your workout plan might say, oh, today I'm supposed to do leg work, but your legs are still sore from what you did 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to wait another day.
Yeah,
Something as simple as that, all the way up to what do you do if you have an injury? What do you push through? What do you not push through? You have to listen to your body.
Absolutely. So let's dive into. So we've got the nutrition. All right, and I've listened to your podcast, and I love it, especially when you get into the herbs, because my wife used to work in an herb farm, and we love herbs, we grow them. So what about herbs when it comes to energy and nutrition? What about herbs? What are some herbs?
So first, again, we have to find out what type of energy depletion and burnout you're dealing with.
Okay.
Is it brain fog? Is it mental fatigue? Is it I'm sleepy in the mornings when I wake up? Is it I feel great during the day and then I dip in the afternoon? What's the reason that you're looking for something? And then you have to say, is an herb what I really need? And I'm going to group herbs and supplements together with this. Yeah. Because when I went through adrenal fatigue, I made the mistake of saying, oh, let's try every hack out there. Let's read every book. Let's buy every supplement. And nothing changed.
Right.
Until I realized I'm tired because I am living on constant adrenaline. So I needed to change all of my systems. And once I rebuilt all of my life systems, I rebuilt how I was handling all of my physical systems. Supplements had a small piece of that, but they weren't like take this and you're fine.
Right.
But understanding that, and on that note, I put all of those things together in something called a Feel Great, Be Great, Ultimate Guide to Beating Burnout. Are you cool if we put a link to that in the show notes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So we'll get you all the powerful plate, and we'll get you all the Feel Great, Be Great, Ultimate Guide to Beating Burnout. Grab that, because nutrition is one piece of this, supplements are one piece of this, but you want the whole picture.
Absolutely.
So now to answer your question, through that lens, some of these supplements that have been shown to help from an herb standpoint, ginseng, specifically Asian ginseng.
Okay.
American ginseng is different. Are you familiar with ginseng?
Yes.
Okay, so Asian ginseng is more for fatigue. American ginseng is more for stress. However, as far as what amounts to take, should you test it, that's where you go to your healthcare provider, because everything has contraindications, and you should take this or shouldn't take this. It's going to interact with this medication or that. So, but ginseng is one to at least start looking at.
Okay.
Through the back door, one of the ones that I found helped me, and I still use it to this day, is holy basil. Are you familiar with Tulsi or holy basil?
Yes, my wife mentions holy basil every now and then.
Okay.
So absolutely.
All right. So I have another YouTube video on holy basil. If you want that one,
Sure,
I'll send you that one.
Absolutely.
So it shows you like how to grow it, the difference between the basils and all that. But holy basil is what's called an adaptogen. Are you familiar with that phrase?
Yes.
Okay. So for you all, an adaptogen is, if you have, to borrow a line from high school biology, homeostasis. So if your body wants homeostasis, an adaptogen brings you back to that point. If you're geared up and stressed, an adaptogen, holy basil, Tulsi, will down-regulate and bring you down. Not down in the sense of your mood, but down in the sense of your stress level. If, on the other hand, if you're like lethargic and just things aren't really running right and feeling right, an adaptogen is going to bring your level up. So it's really a great one to have in your toolbox from an herb standpoint. Supplements are, I was mentioning the greens earlier. Greens are very high in magnesium. Magnesium is one of the minerals that's critical to that energy cycle in your body.
Okay.
Great news is green leafy vegetables, all kinds of vegetables, high in magnesium. Brown rice, fish, whole foods, high in magnesium. So you might need a supplement at some point. Certainly check with your doctor to see if you do, if that's okay, if you're like, okay, I need to check out some of these things. But going ahead and making sure you've got it in that powerful plate is going to help a lot. Another supplement specific is, have you heard of carnitine? L-carnitine. So L-carnitine, your body makes about 25% of the carnitine that you need. The rest of it you have to get through your diet or through a supplement.
Okay.
Carnitine is really important for, well, how do I describe this? Do you remember, and feel free to disagree, do you remember going through stressful things in your 20s that you got over quickly, that now if you went through them, it's a little longer for that stress to get out of your system?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carnitine is one of the reasons for that. Carnitine helps your body get out excess cortisol. It helps it to process out excess cortisol. So you have a stressful event happens, things get ratcheted up like they're supposed to. Carnitine goes, hey, let's get the rest of this out. When we hit middle age, carnitine levels start to drop.
Like every other level starts to drop in life.
So carnitine, and this was one of the things that I tried to look at as a silver bullet when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, when I was going through all that. I was like, oh, well, I must need more carnitine, and it didn't help. Well, why? I was in my late 20s, early 30s. It wasn't dropped. I'm 55 now. It's dropped. So it's a different season of when you might need those. CoQ10. Okay. CoQ10 works in conjunction with carnitine to help with those energy cycles as well. Same thing, levels can begin to drop as we get older. That's a potential one. And L-glutamate, you're probably familiar with that one because of strength training.
Right.
So L-glutamate or L-glutamine, that's also an amino acid like L-carnitine. its function is to stabilize blood sugar. So if the reason that you're having energy issues is because of up and down blood sugar, L-glutamate will help level that. I do not know all the supplements out there, but are there specific ones you've got questions on? And I'm happy to say I don't know. If you ask me about one, I'm not
it's
sure.
interesting because like I used to take all sorts of stuff, and I've even backed way back on my supplements in terms of, because I'm not seeing anything. I was talking to a friend of mine last night who runs Nutrition Factor in Hendersonville.
Yeah.
And I think there's a company, I won't say the name, but they've started beetroot powder. So I've started incorporating that because of nitric oxide. And I'm like, and I was taking nitric pre-workout. I'm like, dude, I feel more bloated after taking, because of all the other stuff, and this is just a pure, and I'm like, I feel a lot better. You know, so I'm like beetroot. But what about I keep seeing things because creatine.
Yeah.
Because I know I've been seeing things now, they're saying that helps brain function too.
That is a good example of anything that you are deficient in. If you take it, it's going to help. If you are not deficient in it and you take it, you will either have a toxic level build up, or it's not going to have, going to have an effect.
Okay.
So it's one to test for it or experiment with it and see how you feel.
Gotcha.
And side note on when I say test it, the first part of testing any supplement is go to WebMD and look at side effects and look at contraindications. As an example, let's say somebody is fatigued because they're feeling a little bit depressed. So they go, oh, I've heard that St. John's wort helps. So they go take St. John's wort. St. John's wort, if you have any liver issues, is contraindicated. Even if you don't have liver issues, it is very hard on certain parts of the liver and creates liver enzymes to get it out of imbalance or to get imbalanced. So that's one that it's not saying don't take it, but go to your healthcare provider and say, hey, I'm looking at taking this. Can we measure my liver enzymes, see where they are pre, during, and post taking something? So don't just go willy-nilly take supplements.
Right, exactly. Okay, good to know. Good information to know. In terms of coming back to a little bit of the herbs, what are some other, you mentioned holy basil, what are some other herbs, especially as we come into spring? What are some other herbs that recommend as well that people can grow in their garden that can help, set their mindset a little bit better, maybe bring focus back? Because again, like we were talking about, adrenal fatigue, adrenaline, you get that adrenaline rush, you run, and then you go, oh, but what can I do to...
And super easy one to grow. This one almost took over our herb garden, chamomile. Chamomile is one of the easiest ones to grow. It's having a cup of chamomile tea is, for some people, they're sensitive enough that'll, really help them sleep at night. For other people, it's just going to calm things down. So even in the afternoon, if you're like all stressed up about something, a cup of chamomile tea may take the edge off. On the flip side, something else that grows really well in the garden is peppermint. Grow this in a pot, please, so it doesn't take over everything. Been there, done that, had that issue.
Yes.
But peppermint oil.
You're saying, let me stop you. You're saying peppermint, not your normal mints, or does it matter? Because I know, like now they've got spearmint, peppermint, and then your common mint.
Okay, so spearmint is going to have some of the same properties.
Okay.
But peppermint's the one that's been studied the most for brain alertness.
Okay.
So you have peppermint tea. Well, I'm not going to say this. Forget the peppermint tea for a second. So if someone is into essential oils,
my wife is.
Okay.
Yeah.
With essential oils, you can have a little diffuser of your peppermint oil going, and in the afternoons, that's going to trigger your brain. Oh, I need to be alert. But if that's not your thing, your olfactory nerves can't tell the difference between this pretty little diffuser and a cup of peppermint tea. So have a cup of peppermint tea mid-afternoon, tells your brain, I need to be alert right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of the peppermint tea, can we talk about water?
Absolutely. H2O,
Okay.
good old H2O.
So if water is the absolute foundation for your energy. In fact, I was speaking at a conference at Opryland, and one of my keynotes is get energized without living on lattes. And one of the points in there is about water and the importance of water. And I tell the story of this research where these researchers went into a nursing home. They looked at all these dementia patients. They measured their level of dementia symptoms. Then they got them all hydrated, fully hydrated.
Okay.
Dementia symptoms statistically decreased. Significantly, statistically, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. Say that
decreased.
5 times fast.
Exactly. Decreased in all the patients. They still had dementia.
Yeah.
But now all of the nerves, all the nerve signals in your brain, they're electric. They go on water. So if you're dehydrated, you're going to have brain fog. So at this conference at Opryland, I'm telling this, and when I had gone into the conference, I noticed all these buckets of sodas and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it was like all that in one little bitty bucket of water. I was the opening keynote. So hour and a half later, I go out and I look, and this is mid-morning, so it's not like everybody had drunk the sodas.
Yeah.
I go out, I'm like, it had switched. There were now buckets and buckets of water, and I was like, somebody was listening to this early on and got that switch.
Well, I mean, how many times? I mean, because we do not drink soda. Our kids, surprisingly, our kids are great. They hardly drink soda, but every now and then we'll have it. But you know, after you drink it, I feel horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I'm like, where's my water?
Right.
Let me ask you this, okay, on the water, because I know, like, one of the things, I love water. That's my main go-to. Try to stay hydrated. But what are some things you can do to make it more interesting? Because, you know, just sometimes you get tired of the just plain taste of water. Because water does it have taste? You know, that's a philosophical question for me.
It can. The water itself may not, but if there are water connoisseurs out there, and they're going to have all the different minerals and do all the different bottled.
Right.
If that is your jam and that gets you into it, go that route. If you're just looking at basic filtered water and you want to make it more interesting, cucumbers, lemons, so cucumber slices, lemon slices, any kind of fruit that you like, just put a slice of it in there just to give it a little bit of that flavor.
Would even to up your energy a little bit more, would peppermint and lemon combination? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
But water, H2O, guys.
H2O.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, how about if we do, before we get into the last question, let's do a little rapid fire here. How's that sound?
Okay. We can do that, and either before rapid fire or after. I do want to talk about something in nutrition that's not often talked about, and the effect that it has on your energy is astounding.
Well, let's hold that.
I'll hold that one.
Hold that one just for a minute, because that means people will have to listen to the rapid fire and they'll be waiting.
Okay.
All right, a little foreshadowing here. All right, cliffhanger. All right, so rapid fire. Let's have a little fun here. Coffee, which a lot of people love out there. Friend or foe?
1 to 2 cups a day, friend.
Okay. 1 to 2 cups a day, friend.
3 or more cups a day, foe.
Gotcha. And I was listening to somebody that they said the lighter the roast, the higher caffeine, where the darker the roast, the less caffeine in the roast, or something like that, how they roast them. I don't know if you've heard that information.
I have heard that, but they're still both pretty high caffeine.
That's true. That's true. All right. Fasting. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
Fasting for burned out people.
For burned out people, it's a no.
Okay. Electrolytes, worth it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if you were taking, I know it's supposed to be a rapid fire. Sorry.
It's okay. No. That's
so if you're taking a single electrolyte, you might get out of balance because it's a mineral, and minerals can get out of balance. If you're taking a comprehensive electrolyte panel, and it's in the summer and you're sweating a lot, et cetera, if you need it, it's very helpful. If you're doing just fine, no, don't, because you could get something out of balance.
So wait, okay, I want to come back to that just real quick. So if you're getting cramping or something like, or if you just done a heavy workout, I know, folks, it's supposed to be rapid fire, but I'm the host. So, anyway, so after a heavy workout, electrolytes good.
Because you've sweated a ton.
Yeah.
Because when you say heavy workout, I'm not picturing 30 minutes lifting weights in the gym. I'm picturing an athlete or even lifting in the gym, but I mean, you're just drenched. That kind of workout, yeah.
Especially in the summertime when it gets hot in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah.
great. Naps, smart or lazy?
Power naps, very smart. There's power naps 10 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
The research on rebooting your brain, astounding. So go back to kindergarten mentality and take that little, get your palate out and take your little 10-20 minute nap, and it'll just reset your whole afternoon.
I think the Italians do that anyway, if I'm not mistaken.
There's a lot of cultures.
A lot of European cultures that
Yeah.
do that. They eat lunch and take a nap and then go back to work. So.
Right.
In America, we don't do that.
No, we do not.
We do not do. Late night snacking.
No.
No. All right.
For a myriad of reasons that if you want to get into, we can, but the rapid fire version is no.
And when we say late night snacking, when is the cutoff?
What's your bedtime?
Let's say my bedtime's 10 o'clock.
Bedtime's 10 o'clock is pretty much anything after 7 p.m.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So shut it down.
So about 3 hours before you go to bed, you want to be wrapping up the last of your food.
Okay.
Now,
good to know.
Now, that's a guide, not a rule.
Right.
Let's say that you had lunch at 11 that morning, you have meetings all afternoon, and the first time you can get food again is 7:30 that night. Please don't go to bed famished.
Right.
Have a little something.
Okay.
But if, you snacked at 3 that afternoon, you're having your normal meal at 6 o'clock, and then you are in the mood for a bowl of ice cream at 8 o'clock, nope,
Okay.
you're going to bed at 10. Nope.
Gotcha. All right. So let's come back to what you were teasing
yes,
everybody
yes,
on.
yes.
So let's
Okay.
get back to this.
So the powerful plate's really important. That client I was telling you about who was had all those things going on, was exhausted. We changed, we fine-tuned a lot of things in her life. One of the major ones was the powerful plate. That ended up, she lost 4 dress sizes, she got off some medications, and her energy got up to where she could do all those things. But that's focused on what you're eating. How you're eating is actually just as important from an energy standpoint.
Okay.
So there was a VP of an international company that started working with me. She came to me initially for some health, wellness kind of things that she was working on. One of the habits that she had started prior to working with me was she had all these meetings going on. She had all these communications all over the world, all these projects, all these things. And it was getting to be too much. So she's like, I got to find time for all this. So she looks at her schedule, and like a lot of us in America, we don't take naps. We also look at our schedules and we go, oh, lunch is a luxury. So I'm just going to work through lunch. I'll eat a little something while I'm getting all this stuff done. Well, because of what we were working on, one of the big things I had her do, Rob, was I said, this working through lunch thing, it's got to go.
Yeah.
We've got to start eating mindfully. We need to shut the laptop down. We need to shut the meetings down, and we need to focus on the food, even if it's just for 15, 20 minutes. 2 weeks later, we have our next session, and she says, I don't know what's happened, but whatever we've changed, I am clear in the afternoons. I'm making faster, better decisions. I still have energy when I get home to be with my family. Like, what did we change? I said, you've changed one thing that'll affect that. You started taking a 20-minute lunch break. Just like that nap, it's a reset for the brain. And suddenly now she started having all this energy in the afternoon and the evenings that she had not had. Well, fast forward, because she's making all these good decisions, guess who's no longer the VP of this company, but the CEO of this company?
Oh my word. Wow, she is.
Yeah,
That's
she
amazing.
is. She is. And I would love to say it's only because she started doing a 20-minute mindful lunch.
That's awesome.
So if someone, if you're listening to this, if you're even thinking about this, and you're like, I just don't have 20, I can't wrap my head around 20
minutes. And
I
get that, because how many times do I work through my lunch? I'm still working. I'm like, and I've finally begun to realize myself, Rob, you've got to have a break here.
Yes. Yeah, your brain's got to have a break. And if you can't do a full stop, if mentally you're just like, I'm not ready to do a full stop, do what I call an email sandwich.
Gotcha.
3 minutes, everything shuts down, you focus on the first 3 minutes of your eating. You let your mind rest and settle. And then you can go back to check an email if you want, work on the project if you want. And then as you start saying, oh, the food's almost gone, okay, the last 3 minutes of eating, that last 3 minutes, you're focused back on the food and shut everything down. So if you can't, like, I'm not going to do 20 or 30 minutes, can you do 6? 3 at the beginning, 3 at the end.
Yeah, gotcha. That's great to know. That's great to know, Sheri. Let me throw one more thing at you that I didn't have as a question, but the nap thing.
Yeah.
Come back to the nap. What about sleep?
Okay.
Because I think
that's going to be a whole other podcast.
Okay, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. And it's also in, I've got a huge section on that in the Beating Burnout Guide. But to go ahead and answer, are you asking how important it is? What's your question on sleep?
I think it is in terms of how we talk about hours. Like some of these people out there can do 4 hours of sleep and function fine. Mm-hmm. Then there's some of us who can't get out. If we go to bed at 12 and get up at 5:30, we're having a fit.
Yeah. That was if I go to bed at 10 and get up at 5:30. I'm an 8 hour. I need my 8.
Okay.
So this is like everything you mentioned earlier. Everybody's body's different. This is the case there. Our bodies and our brains are wired differently. There is legit about 2% of the population that actually only needs 4 to 5 hours a night.
2%.
Yeah.
Wow.
The rest of us, it's going to be between 6.5 and 9.
Okay. Good to know.
And that does not mean, if I'm in the 6.5 to 9, I'm going to make myself do 6.5. No, if you're a 7.5 to 8 hour person, 6.5, you're going to feel exhausted. Now, the caveat, the other side to this is, if you have a couple of bad nights, don't worry about it. Your brain and your body know how to adjust and recuperate. But I think what you're talking about is the intentional making yourself stay up and work. And
right, or you stay up late because you're the night owl versus the early bird or whatever. But then again, how do people find out where they are in that area, or is it just
if you are waking up without an alarm, have steady energy all day, do not need caffeine in the afternoons, still have energy until about an hour or so before bed, and then you start slowly getting sleepy. Whatever amount you're getting, you're fine.
Okay, great to know. All right, one final question, kind of the mic drop, and we mic drop. If someone listening feels completely burned out right now, what are the first 3 steps they should take this week?
Okay, well, the obvious one is to get the burnout guide. That's okay,
which we'll have links.
But we will have links. So, but on a real thing though, that is real actually, because everybody's so unique. But the 3 first things, if you're exhausted, golly, I'll be honest, this one's hard because we don't know why the person's tired.
Okay, fair enough.
And so really maybe the first one is having a conversation with either somebody like myself, your healthcare provider, somebody who can help you know, well, why is it you're tired? Because if you're 50 and you've got brain fog, that's different than if you're 30 and you've been pushing work or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So that would be step 1. Step 2 is go for some of the obvious. Your eating, your water. And then third, this one you mentioned sleep already. Third would be sleep. If you are not sleep, I don't care what age you are or what it is that's causing your burnout. If you're not getting enough sleep, it's going to affect.
Absolutely. Okay. Great, Sheri. Thank you so much.
Love it.
Thank you so much for coming back on Discovery 615. We always appreciate you and the value that you bring. And before we wrap up, one more time, where can people connect with you?
Okay, so when you get the guide, we will automatically be connected. But you can also reach out to me, Sheri, SHERI, at TheVireoLife, TheVireo.com. Or I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, all the things.
And we'll have those under the link in the YouTube channel at Thack Attack 615. Make sure you follow Sheri and connect with her. And be sure to follow Discovering 615 and share this episode with someone you know. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Discovering 615. And as always, find your place, find your people. 615. God bless.